Was it the new WNBA commissioner who suggested that the entire WNBA should have been on the cover of the Time magazine honor for Caitlin Clark?
Someone's speaking the truth. For months, the WNBA has been caught in this weird, self-sabotaging spiral, unable to fully embrace the phenomenon that is Caitlin Clark. Instead of celebrating what she's done for the league, we've seen endless back and forth about what she should or shouldn't represent. And now, Patrick has had enough of it. In a world where the WNBA is trying to play catch up to other sports leagues, Caitlin Clark has done something no one else has. She's brought the spotlight to women's basketball in a way that's never been seen before. But instead of embracing this historic moment, the WNBA seems intent on downplaying her impact.
Caitlin Clark is a phenomenon. And if I said to any of these people who think Caitlin Clark is not the Rookie of the Year, I'd say, who would you want to start your franchise with?
Patrick's comments are a wake-up call to those who've been afraid to give Clark her due. It's not just about her being a great player, it's about the entire narrative around her and the league. Caitlin Clark isn't just another name in the WNBA, she's changed the game, and it's time to stop pretending otherwise. The WNBA needs to stop eating itself alive, and Patrick has called out the very people who are holding the league back from its full potential.
Stop making excuses for Caitlin Clark's greatness. And what she did something different than anybody else in the WNBA. The history of the WNBA with the way she plays.
Let's face it, Clark's rise is undeniable, but the WNBA's reluctance to fully embrace her success only weakens the league. It's as if every time there's a victory, someone feels the need to bring up some irrelevant issue. Whether it's the old guard or the new critics, they're all missing the bigger picture. The WNBA should be rallying behind Clark, taking a victory lap, and using her success as a springboard to build even more momentum for the future. But instead, we're stuck with this constant tug of war between celebrating the present and clinging to the past. In this video, we'll break down exactly how Dan Patrick's comments hit the WNBA where it hurts, and why his words are more important than ever. Caitlin Clark is changing the game, whether the league wants to admit it or not. It's time to stop the internal division and start celebrating the incredible moment we're in right now.
She's the Time Person of the Year. That's all. The league won. But every time we think there's a win, there's somebody who brings something else up.
Dan Patrick didn't hold back, and his comments hit the WNBA hard. For months, the league has danced around Caitlin Clark's undeniable impact, as if acknowledging her greatness might somehow diminish the league's history. This is exactly where things have gone wrong. Caitlin Clark isn't just another player, she's a phenomenon. Her rise has completely shifted the narrative around women's basketball, drawing in fans from all over the world and putting the WNBA in a spotlight it's never seen before. Yet instead of celebrating her for what she's done, we've seen people in the league try to downplay her influence. Patrick's frustration comes from the fact that the WNBA, instead of embracing the moment, seems hell-bent on undermining it. The constant debate about whether Clark deserves to be the face of the league or whether she's overshadowing other players is exhausting. Why can't the league just recognize that Caitlin Clark has done something revolutionary? She's brought eyeballs to a sport that, for years, struggled to break through the noise. She's not just playing basketball, she's making history, and the WNBA's failure to acknowledge this is a missed opportunity.
Person of the Year, it's not the people of the year, it was a person of the year. Can't we just acknowledge Caitlin Clark changed the WNBA? That's it. It's okay.
By downplaying Clark's impact, the WNBA is doing a disservice to itself. The league has struggled for years to build its brand, and now that they have a player who can actually move the needle, they're hesitant to fully embrace her. It's as if the WNBA is afraid that celebrating Clark's success will somehow erase the contributions of past players. But here's the thing, celebrating Clark doesn't diminish the legacy of those who came before her. Just like in any other sport, when a new star rises, it's not a slight against the past, it's a chance to build on what's already been established. The WNBA's hesitation to give Clark her due is rooted in fear that if they acknowledge her as the face of the league, it will upset the balance. But what they don't realize is that Caitlin Clark is the future of the league. She's the reason why people are tuning in, buying tickets, and talking about women's basketball. Instead of fighting against this momentum, the league should be capitalizing on it. This is a unique moment, and it's time to stop pretending it's anything less than that.
One thing Caitlin Clark does maybe better than anybody in sports right now, makes it about others, makes it about team. Think about it. When's the last time you didn't see Caitlin Clark talking about a teammate? When's the last time you saw Caitlin Clark talking about herself or any of the accomplishments that she has had? Let me give you the answer to that. Never! Never! You never hear that. Now, that's why their team has gotten good. She could have been an egomaniac. Everybody in the league knows that she is the league.
The real issue with the WNBA right now isn't just about Caitlin Clark. It's the internal division that's holding the league back from fully embracing her success. When the Washington Mystics owner voiced her frustration about Clark being singled out for Time Magazine's cover, it revealed a deeper issue within the league. Instead of celebrating Clark's monumental rise, there's this undercurrent of resentment from within the WNBA itself. The constant bickering about whether the focus should be on Clark or the league as a whole is exactly why the WNBA continues to struggle in the spotlight. It's not just the Mystics owner either. There are players, coaches, and even media figures within the league who seem to feel threatened by the attention Clark is receiving. Some argue that her dominance is overshadowing other great players like Angel Reese and Aja Wilson, and that's where the problem lies. Instead of supporting Clark's rise, these figures are creating unnecessary tension, as if her success is a threat to their own. What they fail to see is that Caitlin Clark's rise is a win for everyone in the league, not just her.
Caitlin Clark has been the best thing, the most dominant thing. Remember, there's been good players come out of college, but nobody really cared. We'd seen it. Nobody really cared.
Her success brings attention to the entire WNBA, and if the league continues to fracture over who gets the spotlight, it will only undermine its growth.
But as a white person, there is privilege. And it just makes me sad that she reacted the way that she did, because Caitlin Clark is so talented.
This internal division is nothing new in sports, but it's especially damaging in a league that is still fighting for recognition. When you have people within the WNBA trying to tear down one of its biggest stars, it sends a message to fans and potential sponsors that the league can't even get out of its own way. It's time for the WNBA to stop this infighting and start focusing on what's best for the league as a whole. Caitlin Clark is the face of that future, and instead of battling over who should be in the spotlight, everyone in the WNBA should be rallying behind her success. What's worse is that this division creates a sense of insecurity within the league. If the WNBA can't come together to celebrate its biggest moment, how can it expect the public to take it seriously? The league should be using Caitlin Clark's success as a stepping stone to elevate other players, build new franchises, and increase its visibility. Instead, it's caught in a cycle of self-sabotage, where the focus is more on what's not working than what is. The WNBA has a golden opportunity right now, and unless it stops fighting itself, it will miss the chance to truly capitalize on the momentum Clark has created.
Let's see what they have to say now.
Some of us felt like maybe she hadn't proved it in the WNBA, but at this point, she certainly has. So she proved everybody wrong.
Talk about the guards that did make it. How they play, Andrea? Because you were one of the ones that say she didn't earn it. How did the guards play that within the Olympics? How did they play?
Caitlin Clark isn't just another player in the WNBA. She's a cultural phenomenon. Her style of play, her swagger, and her ability to perform under pressure have redefined what it means to be a star in women's basketball. She's not just breaking records, she's rewriting the narrative around the sport. The fact that Caitlin Clark can turn a regular game into a spectacle, drawing in fans from all walks of life, is something the WNBA has never seen before. She's brought an energy to the league that's contagious, and her influence goes far beyond just basketball. Her rise is comparable to the impact of Wayne Gretzky on the NHL. When Gretzky joined the LA Kings, it wasn't just about his talent, it was about the attention he brought to the sport. He changed the landscape of hockey, just as Clark is doing for women's basketball. Her ability to bring eyes to the WNBA is unprecedented, and it's not just casual fans tuning in, it's a whole new audience that's never paid attention to the league before. Whether it's her clutch performances or her larger-than-life personality, Clark has made herself synonymous with the future of women's basketball.
There is a lot of appropriate attention on Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, and we found out that the Fever Storm game from over the weekend drew 2.2 million viewers, which is massive. The WNBA has 18 games this season where they've had more than 1 million viewers average, and 16 of those 18 have featured Caitlin Clark. So you cannot deny the connectivity of Caitlin Clark playing basketball and people wanting to watch. If she's playing, they will come, they will watch the game.
What's even more impressive is how she's done this without compromising who she is. Caitlin Clark doesn't need to fit into a mold or play a certain way to be accepted. She's embraced her unique style and used it to propel the league forward. This is what makes her different from any other player in the history of the WNBA. While others have been great, Clark has transcended the game. She's not just a great player, she's a force of nature. The WNBA should be celebrating her, not questioning her place in the league. The impact of Caitlin Clark extends far beyond just her on-court abilities. She's inspiring a new generation of players who look up to her not just for her talent, but for her unapologetic confidence. She's showing young girls everywhere that they can be themselves and still be great. In a sport where women have often been told to play a certain way or act a certain way, Clark's authenticity is a breath of fresh air. This is a moment in history, and the WNBA would be wise to recognize that. If they can't see the value in Caitlin Clark's unique appeal, they're missing out on the opportunity to elevate the entire league to new heights.
Caitlin Clark now has the rookie record, the history of the WNBA. She's now going to try to set the all-time record, but 12 games to go.
Caitlin Clark has done is grown the WNBA exponentially. She did in 5 weeks what would have taken 5 years. And as it pertains to draft viewership, she did in 5 days what would have taken 5 years.
Caitlin Clark's influence on the WNBA is undeniable, and it's not just about the numbers she puts up on the scoreboard. Her presence in the game has shifted the conversation around women's sports in general. She's become a role model for young athletes everywhere, showing them that the pathway to greatness doesn't require fitting into a box. Clark's rise is symbolic of the larger movement toward recognizing women's sports for what they are: exciting, dynamic, and deserving of the same attention and respect as men's sports. What's even more remarkable is how Caitlin Clark has managed to carry this weight without letting it change who she is. Unlike other athletes who may have shied away from the spotlight or tried to conform to expectations, Clark has embraced the attention and used it to fuel her game. Her ability to perform at the highest level under intense pressure is what sets her apart. She thrives in moments that would make other athletes crumble, and that's what makes her a true phenomenon. She's not just a player, she's a brand, a movement, and a symbol of what women's basketball can become.
Caitlin Clark finished up one of the most remarkable years of basketball playing in quite some time.
It's also important to note how Clark's success isn't just about her individual achievements. It's about what she represents for the WNBA as a whole. Her rise has sparked conversations across the sports world, bringing attention to a league that has struggled to get the recognition it deserves. Caitlin Clark is the spark that could ignite a fire of growth for the WNBA. The league now has a real chance to capitalize on this moment and build a foundation for future success. But that can only happen if the WNBA embraces her and the attention she's bringing.
No one cares what skin color you are. You know what America loves? Let me break it down for you. We absolutely love one thing. You know what it is? Underdogs. We don't care about your color. We don't care if you're married, single, divorced. We don't care about anything. We love humble underdogs. We just do.
Rather than letting internal conflicts distract from the bigger picture. By focusing on Caitlin Clark's unique ability to change the game, the WNBA can shift its focus from playing catch-up to leading the charge in women's sports. Clark's impact extends far beyond just her basketball skills. She's changed the perception of women's sports, and by fully supporting her, the WNBA can leverage this moment to build a legacy that lasts for generations. The league needs to stop looking back and worrying about the past and start looking forward, building on the momentum Clark has created. If they do, they'll find that the future is brighter than ever.
Tell me when the last time all these players been in the league all this time. Yes, you name all the prominent players. Tell me the time the WNBA has had this much buzz. I'll wait. Everybody in the chat that y'all was saying, oh, these women been in the league before Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Tell me the time they had this much buzz. Tell me the time they had this many eyes on the draft. Tell me this many times they had watching WNBA preseason games. I'm just waiting. Go ahead, Phil. Go ahead, chat. Take off.
Caitlin Clark has done something the WNBA has been trying to achieve for years. She's brought the attention, the excitement, and the recognition that the league deserves. It's time for the WNBA to stop fighting against itself and start embracing the change that Clark represents. The infighting, the internal division, and the need to downplay her greatness only hold the league back. Instead of diminishing her impact, the league should be celebrating the fact that one player has the power to shift the narrative and elevate the entire sport. The future of the WNBA lies in its ability to unite behind stars like Caitlin Clark. She's not just a great player, she's the face of a new era. Her success is a victory for the league, and instead of focusing on what's missing or who's not getting enough attention, the WNBA should be building on the momentum Clark has created. There's a whole new audience out there waiting to be tapped into, and Clark is the key to unlocking that potential.
This is not a new thing.
Sure.
In that way, I do think Caitlin's being used as a pawn. Caitlin didn't bring racism to the WNBA. This has been happening. And that, I think, is what's been such a shock for all of us, that other people are surprised by this. We've been trying to tell you. And once again, for so long, as a player, I would almost joke. I'd be like, I would have loved to have shut up and dribble. In so many ways, I would have loved to have been valued.
The WNBA can't afford to let internal division tear apart the very thing that's giving it the spotlight. Caitlin Clark is a phenomenon that transcends the sport, and the league should be rallying behind her, not pulling her down. By doing so, they'll not only elevate Clark, but also the entire league. The attention and the respect that Clark has earned are just the beginning. Now it's up to the WNBA to take that momentum and build something lasting. Caitlin Clark's greatness isn't just a moment, it's a movement. She's not just changing the game, she's changing the entire landscape of women's sports. It's time for the WNBA to recognize that, stop the bickering, and start celebrating the incredible opportunity they have right in front of them.
This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie, targeted by society, targeted by her looks, targeted by her reputation, targeted by the disrespect that they've shown to the WNBA. She said, no, they're expecting this rookie class to be perfect. This rookie class isn't even one of the best rookie classes in the last 10 years.
Caitlin Clark has already changed the game, and now it's up to the league to make sure her impact lasts. If you're ready to dive into the latest and greatest moments in women's basketball, you're in the right place. Here on WNBA Original, we cover everything from breaking news to inspiring stories, bringing you closer to the action and the players who make it all happen. Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications, so you'll always be the first to know what's happening on and off the court. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more from WNBA Original.